gals and guys, welcome back to another episode of Cursage Gaming. This time we return back to the gaming creepypasta side of things with a story called Cursed Minesweeper. Now, this creepypasta was originally in Spanish and was translated over to English, so expect some grammatical errors here and there. So with that being said, firmly plant your ass cheeks and get ready to get into this Cursaged Minesweeper. The novel begins with our unnamed protagonists that are referred to as player, telling the reader that he or she was playing Spider Solitaire on his or her Windows XP computer as usual. The player then recalls how he or she got the computer in the first place. The guy selling it sold it for half the price, and mentioned something about it being haunted or some shit. The player decided to open a game with the mine as an icon named Minesweeper. The player quickly grew fond of the game. After exactly 69 moves, the player despaired and decided to mark all the charts with flags and press the happy face. Upon pressing said happy face, a pop-up window appeared with the message in all caps, "You shouldn't have done that." The player shrugged this off at first, but quickly stopped shrugging when the happy face turned into a sad face, and the frame mine's marker was 666. The player tried shutting the game down, but couldn't because it would just pop back up again, as if it was infected by Bonsai Buddy. But then the player started to feel strange. The player then lost all control and started slamming his or her head into the screen until he or she bled, and kicked the CPU, very much like how Jimmy McGill kicked the trash can in the first episode of the first season of the groundbreaking television series Better Call Saul, titled Uno. After sawing all over the CPU, the player tried shutting down the computer via the power off button, but it still didn't work. The player then had no choice but to disconnect the computer from the cable. The player got folded by this, which caused him or her to be in a coma for exactly 1 week, 3 days, 83 hours, 23 minutes, and 9.2 seconds. Once the player woke up, he or she tried telling everyone about the ordeal, but no one believed the player and just called him or her crazy. The player got the brilliant 140 IQ idea of just showing them what was on the computer. Only when they went to check, nothing was strange. Everything was normal. Just a damn yellow face with an evil smile. The little face ruined his or her life, according to the player. The player was then hospitalized for 2 years in the Verrückt Asylum, and decides not to tell us how it went. I have to assume the player got locked out of the power room by his or her friends while they used the mystery box, and one of them got the Wonder Waffle DG2. Flash forward to the present, the player tells us that the Minesweeper curse continues through other people's computers, and that we should be careful. So that was a pretty alright creepypasta. For our first Minesweeper creepypasta, I'd say it was pretty good. Let's start off with the positives first. One thing I do appreciate is that the author warns us of this curse at the end of the story. I was planning on getting Windows XP just to play Minesweeper tomorrow, but I guess that'll have to wait until someone figures out how to lift this curse. Another thing I liked about this story was its antagonist, being this smiling yellow face. Not gonna lie, that face gave me the creeps because it reminds me of this one experience I had in the past with a smiling someone. One day I was walking down the street eating spaghetti with Zobria, when suddenly 4 smiling men with Hydra shotguns from Resident Evil 5 popped up and ass blasted us with them because the Hydra shotgun is actually OP as fuck. Why has that gun stopped appearing in the newer games? Come on, Capcom. Anyways, back on topic. One last positive thing I could say about this is the image provided to us. When I saw it, I actually shat my Breaking Bad underoos. The frowning face nearly sent me to the ICU due to how horrifyingly horrifying it is. Now for the negatives. There's only 2, so don't worry. One being its realism. It's hard to take the story seriously when the player is using Windows XP. I can't see anyone in the year 2022 using Windows XP. Obviously the realistic option would be to use Windows Vista. The other negative aspect of the story is that it was originally in Espanol. Since this was originally in Spanish, I expected to see some metastasis references, and was heavily disappointed to not see any. Incredibly missed opportunity right there. Gus does not find it acceptable. Other than that, this was a pretty decent creepypasta, and even though it has its fair share of flaws, it was still genuinely creepy, and I recommend you gals and guys check it out. Links to the story in the description down below. I'll also be cutting down the Cursage gaming videos down to 1 a week instead of my usual 2 per week, because there's just so many good stories out there. With that being said, this has been another episode of Cursage Gaming, and make sure you gals and guys like, comment, and subscribe. This is me, Skeldove, and